Hi, it's Jane with the Compassion Project, and I am super excited and honored today to be here with Mia. Well, actually, it's Mia Randall Krishnaswami. Did I say that right? Krishnaswami?
Close. Krishnaswami. It's
Krishna,
very phonetic, actually. Krishnaswami.
Krishnaswami. Okay. Mia is so beautiful inside and out. She is heart-driven, kind, compassionate, and incredibly talented. She lives in Boston, Massachusetts with her incredible husband, Don. And actually, I find this really interesting. They both have been professional performers for many years. Mia, a singer and actress in the Broadway and opera genres, and her husband is a violinist and composer. I was like, Mia, I knew you could sing, but I actually didn't know that you had been on Broadway, and I think that's amazing. We're going to talk about that. Mia is also an entrepreneur and passionate about helping others embrace their health journey in a much more conscious way. And we are going to talk about a new business she's launching coming up soon at the end, which is exciting. So Mia knows that life is very precious and that none of us know what tomorrow will bring. Having to overcome her loss of 3 pregnancies and knowing she was unable to birth a child of her own, and then the recent loss of her precious fur baby, honestly, Mia, broke my heart. Her fur baby, Kamala, which passed away on July 19th.
You on that one. It's Kamala.
Kamala.
Thank you.
Oh, Kamala. Okay. Kamala. And she passed away on July 19th, 2020. My heart was broken for you. I have a fur baby who's like a baby to me. We'll talk about that. So today we really want to talk about how important it is to learn from things we've gone through, because life is ups and downs and we all go through trauma and struggles and we have to overcome. And I think it's gonna be a good conversation to talk about how we can create a strong mindset and move forward. And yes, I adore you. So welcome, Mia.
Oh, thank you so much, Jane. So fun to be here with you and have this conversation.
Yeah. So I want to start just even for me, because I really don't know your story of when you were younger and you were on Broadway, or did you actually perform on Broadway?
Well, I did a Broadway national tour of Fiddler on the Roof, actually. And we were in Ottawa when I left the show about 2 weeks prior to it closing, because I had an accident that forced me to leave the show. And I came to Massachusetts with every intention of heading back to Manhattan, but life kind of went in a zigzag. And I eventually got married and inherited 3 wonderful stepchildren that are just awesome. Filled my life with a lot of joy. Yeah.
So Mia, when you were like, say 18, 19, is after you left high school, did you go to university for?
I went to Cincinnati Conservatory. So I was a music theater major there, and I did a little opera, but I focused on music theater, and then I went off. After graduating, I went off to Japan, actually. For Tokyo Disneyland for about 2 8-month stints, and was in Japan at the late 80s.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. And then I went back, then I moved to Manhattan. And that's where things really started to, be more focused in pursuing a career, with the Broadway genre.
That's exciting.
Some regional theater. I mean, I don't know if you ever heard of the Burt Reynolds Theater in Jupiter, Florida, but I worked there with Desi Arnaz Jr. Can you see me okay?
Just stay right there. Yeah, you're going off, but that's
good. With Desi Arnaz Jr., I did a show called Is There Life After High School? I did a show there called Do Black Patent Leather Shoes Really Reflect Up? It was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool. But so is that how you met Dawn?
No, I met Dawn after I toured with the Broadway tour Fiddler on the Roof. And I had an accident. Well, actually, I knew Dawn. Sorry. I knew Dawn before that because Dawn and his first wife, Fiona, lived in Manhattan. And Dawn went to Juilliard. So I went to Cincinnati Conservatory. He went to Juilliard. He did his undergrad in composition, and he did his master's in viola.
Okay.
But he played violin for most of his life too. So he teaches violin and viola. He still performs, but of course, right now during these crazy times, nobody is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting. So, okay, I want to talk about your, what happened when we all have the dream of becoming a mom. So you and Dawn got married, right? And
Yeah,
then, so did you always want to become a mom, like as a young girl? I know some people are
I
more
did.
business.
I did. I was like the babysitter that the kids wanted to have growing up. And I loved babysitting. I was really good at it. And I mean, I was one of 5 kids, right? So I was used to, a lot of chaos and craziness.
Yeah.
But yes, I always wanted to. I've always been a nurturer,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think that when you have that in you, I always thought I would be a mom someday,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom was such so full. She was this tiny little 4'11" Italian mom, and she was just full of love. She was also an incredible singer.
Oh, wow.
He encouraged that in me, because obviously you could see that I had this talent. And so she nurtured that. And I used to perform with her. And then I went to school at Cincinnati Conservatory and really got my focus as a performer there, and knew that I would end up in Manhattan. So
Mm-hmm.
the question about Don is I knew Don in Manhattan. I knew his first wife, Fiona. I used to babysit their first child.
Oh, wow.
I married the babysitter. Let's just put that out there.
Wow.
Not immediately, but
Yeah, wow.
basically, they moved to Massachusetts when their first child was 2, and they had 2 more children, and they were trying to make a family work, and eventually they separated. And then when the youngest was 4 and the middle one was 6 and the oldest was 10, I married him. But if anybody had ever told me I was going to move to Massachusetts and marry Dawn and inherit 3 kids, I would have said, you're crazy. But I was ready at that time. I was very ready to embrace, I felt like I had been in the performing world for a while, and I didn't know that I was giving it up, so to speak. There I am. I'm in the middle.
Yeah. So
I
you
didn't
had,
know- Sorry, I didn't know I was really giving it up, but I knew I was ready to take on the role of being a mom. And I did that very, very much. And I will say we've been married now for over 20 years, and we really are a family. I mean,
yeah.
with his first wife, we do holidays together, we Zoom together. I mean, everybody's very harmonious.
Yeah.
I will say the first 10 years of our life were married life were difficult because I had a struggle. I first I had an ovarian cyst that was inside of me for way too long, and when that came out, I was pregnant 5 months later.
Oh, wow.
But I lost it, and we were both very sad by that. But I thought, well, I was pregnant, and I got pregnant quickly.
Right. How far along were you when you lost that first one?
Just slightly over 2 months.
You still get attached right away. But
Well, yeah, and you still see what is the start of something, right?
yeah, yeah.
And then about 9 months later, I was pregnant again, and so I was very joyful, of course, about that. And the same thing happened, and I lost that several months into it.
Really?
And yeah, and so then you start to get a little bit nervous about this. And then while he was out on tour, he actually did, I think it was a tour with the Boston Pops, and it was about a year and a half later. And then I discovered I was pregnant again. And when I lost that one, then I realized, okay, what does this mean? Am I going to experience being a mom, and give my beautiful stepchildren another sibling, and am I going to be able to know what that feels like to grow this being inside of me and to give birth and to nurture them? because, you know, as much as I adore my stepchildren, I never tried to replace their mommy. They had mommy.
Yeah.
So I just tried to be
That's making me cry.
you know,
I
I
can feel that.
a positive influence on their lives. And interestingly, the oldest one and the youngest one ended up, you know, pursuing the music theater and the opera. The youngest one is actually in his master's at the Jacobs School of Music right now.
Wow.
He's
You're
gonna,
so important in their lives. Like you're a family. It's just that I think letting go of that, knowing that you couldn't birth your own, I think that's letting go of what we think the future is going to be like, right?
yeah, yeah. And I had to I mean, it used to bother me to the point where, you know, I'd see pregnant women and it would be just like this dagger in me because I wanted it so much. But, you know, I know this sounds really probably funny to some people, but because of that pain, we brought this very beautiful little being into our lives that the oldest child actually was the one that identified her, our English Springer Spaniel. And that may sound funny to people,
No,
but
it doesn't.
this dog was my baby. She was the baby that God brought into my life. And she knew it. I mean, she was brilliant. She practically spoke English. I could say, seriously, I could say, honey, could you pick up that sock and bring it to mommy? And, you know, could you put it in the laundry basket and let's go downstairs? And I mean, she would just follow me. I never really had to have her on a leash. She would not leave my side. And I slept with my husband and I for almost 17 years, just between the two of us. So she was our baby. And she lived really a very wonderful life, happy, healthy life.
17 years. Wow.
Yeah, she had an accident in July and she fell down some stairs when we were visiting a friend. She was in a foreign environment and she was gone within 2 weeks from that fall. So, you
Aw.
know, I don't feel like it was attributed to the fact that she was older because in June of last year, I was running up the road with her and she was leaving me in the dust. And, you know, this woman
Yeah.
stopped me and said, oh, we have an English Springer Spaniel too, but ours is older. And I said, oh yeah, how old? And she said, he's 11. And I said, she's 16 and 3/4. I could not believe it. So,
But honestly, Mia, I know the fur babies. I always have dogs. And I mean, I was able to be a mom and have daughters and grandchildren, but the dogs fill a void. They are our babies. And people that aren't dog people don't get it. I'm like, they are. They're like babies.
they are. And, you know, the thing about dogs, their love is so unconditional. You know, they just love. And I've always said, boy, if people could love the way dogs love, this world would just be a better place. You know,
I
I mean,
know.
really amazing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so she filled that void for me. And yes, it's hard. I miss her every day. I probably cry every day, you know, but
Yeah.
I also am very grateful because, you know, I think this last year, you know, has challenged a lot of people, hasn't it? You know, whether it's uh, the, they're concerned about their health, they're concerned about their finances, they've lost people, they've, you know, lost family members, friends, whatever. You know, there's still so much to be grateful for.
I
And you know, we have been very focused on our health and wellness business. My husband and I also have a business outside of our talents as
Yeah.
performers. We're just, you know, we're bringing a scientific breakthrough technology to market that's all about cellular health. And honestly, our dog was on a pet version of our human flagship product, and she
Yeah.
was on that product for 7.5 years. And so,
And I know the company because that's how me and I actually met, through this incredible company.
yeah,
And I'm not with them anymore, but I'm doing the Compassion Project. I'm doing more nonprofit. But
I
Mia does,
love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. It's so beautiful.
but I know how incredible the products are and how they do help so many pets and people. And Mia is going to put I think a link in the comments to her new, you have a new, it's called Activate and Thrive. Do you want to talk a bit about that? That people can find out what you do?
Well, my husband and I are getting ready to launch our Facebook business page this month. I mean, we've been with this company for a while, but we really want to share the knowledge that we have and that we are always learning, right? We're constantly learning, but we work with so many incredible healthcare professionals, and we really want to, educate people so that they understand, the gift that we feel like we have to share, because we're just blessing so many people with better health options and even better financial options if that's something that interests them. But the bottom line is we just, there I go back to the nurturer in me, the helper. When you don't have perhaps a legacy as far as a child goes, so to speak. For me, I wanted to find a way to make a difference.
Yeah, that's your passion. I can feel it. Because I when I met you, I always felt connected with you right at the beginning, because I think everyone can when they're around you feel your heart. You have so much kindness and compassion in you. So I'm curious, for me, when I was part of that company, that was about, I think, when did I join? 5 years ago, but I haven't been with them in a couple of years. But I learned so much about myself for personal growth. I think it's really important for people to understand the power of personal growth and a strong mindset, because do you feel like, having gone through all that with having lost the babies, and you have to try to find joy, in darkness, we have to be able to find the joy somehow, and it's so hard. And there's a quote from, I think it's Oprah, and she says, or maybe it's Deepak Chopra, I listen to them both.
I do. I love
gratitude is like a flashlight in a dark forest. And I think that is so important for people to understand. When you're going through a dark time, if the last thing you want is someone to say, oh, you need to be grateful. But if you yourself can be like, knowing that gratitude is like a flashlight, that if you can even look just around you, is there something I can see that makes me feel grateful? Like, it's such a huge part of personal growth, don't you think? Being grateful for the simple things.
Absolutely. I mean, gratitude, we've all heard it. Gratitude is riches. And, everybody deals with life, ups and downs. We all have our sad times. We all have our good times. We all have our more challenging times, but the bottom line is there is always something to be grateful for. And life is too short. Life is too precious to waste our time, going down that rabbit hole of just like, why did this happen to me? And blah, blah, blah. It's like, be that light. And that's why that's why we're here, so that we can be that light for others, so that we can make a difference, and if you don't take care of your mindset, and, there's so many mentors out there, whether it's Tony Robbins or, Deepak Chopra or Oprah, whoever it is, find someone that you can resonate with, that you take the time for yourself every day to be in touch with what empowers you to be in your, natural ilk or niche. I mean, if I know that my essence is as a nurturer and as a helper, and how can I best utilize that part of myself to make a difference in the world, then I need to do my work for myself. I need to put the oxygen mask on myself so that I'm better equipped to help others. And, everybody's got their strengths. Everybody's got their weaknesses. And so I think we can build on our strengths. And I also think we need to be willing to look at what's not working for us, and build on that too, because change doesn't take place if we don't change. You know?
You know what, Mia, that is a really powerful line. It's one of my favorites. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better.
Yeah.
And working on yourself, on your mind, like Mia says, you have to find someone that you resonate with. I really resonated with Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you listen to him. He's so into the mind. He's a neuroscientist, and he mixes neuroscience and the study of the brain with the mind and how we think, and it's so powerful. And when he changed me, like when you become aware of how you think, and that we think over 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Yeah, and most people wake up thinking most of the thoughts are from the past or heavy. And he says you have to have a vision for the future. So your thoughts are positive and for the future, most of them, not in the, bringing you back to the past. So for you to be able to go through, and embracing and having a joyous life, even though you couldn't birth children, to be part of these, Dawn's children's life, and they're your children too, and you're so important in their life. And then to have your fur baby and the joy, and so I think if you have to have something, especially during a pandemic, that pulls you forward, like that is your passion. That's so
and it's bigger than you. That's the thing that we always have to remember when we're so focused on ourselves and what's going on in our personal life. Then we're kind of living in a little small world, like a little bubble. Right? Sometimes we need help bursting that bubble and enhancing those transmitters, or so speak, that neurological side of ourselves, because a lot of times those patterns are there and we default to those patterns because of what goes on early on in our lives, right? Yeah. One of the things I love so much about children is they're so unfiltered. They just say it, they just do it. They don't care what anybody thinks. They're not trying to impress anybody. They're not trying to be a certain way to attract a certain tribe, so to speak.
They live in the moment.
They live in the moment. And then what happens to us as we grow up and we start to associate with people and we go to school and we're more concerned about what this person is saying about us and what that person is saying about us. And, I just think that, out of the mouth of babes, we just have to simplify and we have to get back to who we truly are. And I think back to, when I was a kid, you're going to laugh at this, but when I was a kid and I saw the movie Mary Poppins, I know I flew around my neighborhood. I did. I saw Mary Poppins fly, and people are going to laugh and say, but the bottom line is you don't have limitations on, right? You don't think in any limited way whatsoever. You think you can do anything.
I know.
And I did. And my mom also encouraged that in us.
Yeah.
And so I just think that things start to happen to us sometimes as we mature, as we're growing up and we start to listen to this person or that person. If it's taking you away from your essence and who you really are, maybe those aren't the people you're supposed to listen to, right?
I agree. And I think it's when people become aware that you actually can heal your brain, change your brain. And if you have a broken, I say broken brain, or something, a belief that is not true from your past, or trauma from your past, and you have a deep groove, a deep pathway of this belief that's not true, you can change it. And I actually am shocked. I worked so hard to change my brain and heal these beliefs from when I was young. And you just keep putting the positive information in. You are positive when you get up. You say, today is going to be a great day. I force things into my head. Like I say every day, like, I am important. I am kind. I am compassionate. I'm loving. I force it in.
And you are, and look what you've developed here with the Compassion Project. That you gave birth to that, right? So birth comes in many different forms, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about what we think it's going to be or how it's going to turn out in this life. but I love feeling like I'm making a difference in people's lives and helping them be healthier, helping
Yeah.
them get the financial stress out of their lives if that's something that, they're focused on. And,
Mhm.
I just love feeling like I'm being part of a solution
Yeah.
because everybody's got something that they're dealing with,
Yeah.
right? And
Exactly.
and we have to be kinder. We have to be more compassionate to people. If we're
We
not,
do.
kids don't know to be mean. They
No,
learn to be mean,
I know.
and
Yeah.
so
Raising children. If when we heal ourselves and we heal our minds and we become kinder, compassionate people, our children are raised in a healthy environment, our friends pick it up. And yeah, so you're amazing. I'm
oh,
so grateful you joined me today because
oh,
I have the biggest heart. And I think a lot of women can relate to what you go through because a lot of us as young girls want to have children and we have that. And then it's knowing that you can still create a life. We're in charge of creating our own life. And you created an amazing life with you and Dawn. And you are a mom to those kids and your fur baby. And I hope you do one day get another fur baby. I've had 4 dogs now, and we'd lost 3, and then for a year after Chase passed, we just couldn't get another dog, and then we got Maya, and she's changed our lives. She has helped my husband through retirement. She has helped us through the pandemic because she's there. We have a purpose. She's our
yes.
yeah. So
And they give you that purpose, so yes, I know we will have another
at some
one. We
point,
just haven't been quite ready to take that on
yeah,
yet,
yeah.
But my message then with that is we all need to just love like a dog loves, right?
Exactly.
And know who we are and know that we're enough,
Yeah,
just the way we are with whatever is going on in our lives, that we are enough, and
yeah,
that when we can really get that mindset in the right place, then we can contribute in ways that are so meaningful, and we can create a life that's full of abundance,
yeah. I
in
know.
so
In the
many
simple things.
and it doesn't need to feel like it's lacking something just because one particular thing that you thought was going to be there isn't there.
Right.
I mean, that we do have a choice how we respond to these things, and we all have a choice to have a good life, and to help others do the same.
Oh,
So
I love that. We'll end with that. We all have a choice because it is every choice, every decision we make is how we create our life. And so when you're aware that you actually are creating your own life by choices you're making. So
oh,
I love you. You're amazing. This has been
I
so
love you too. Thank you
great.
so much for having me on. As you're,
Yeah.
it's so
Thank
beautiful what you're doing, darling, and just wish you all the best. And we'll be back in touch soon.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank
And
you.
we will put a link to her new or website or group. We'll put it in the comments
Yeah,
so
that sounds
everyone can
great.
check it out because
Yeah.
she's definitely helping a lot of people with
And
their
you can
health.
connect with me. You can also just send me a private message if you ever
Yeah.
want to do that too.
Okay. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you,
Bye.
Julie. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.